He knocked me over. I landed on the dog bowl.
This one's wife. The Sussexes are at the head of the biggest trolling gang of the internet age. Part 2. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor, continuing to help you understand how narcissism is behind the behaviours of this one's wife and the role it plays with regard to her use of trolls who have been affecting other individuals, public figures and non-public figures. Dan Wootton, the journalist, in one of his updates, has reported on what he has unearthed with regard to the behaviour of these trolls and the connection to the Sussexes. And I have been utilising what he has to say about the matter as a platform for then explaining how this occurs within the auspices of this one's wife's narcissism and the dynamic with particular individuals in her fuel matrix. Mr. Wootton explained that it was only last May when he discovered how far the group known as the Sussex Squad would go to take down enemies of their heroes. He then makes reference to another individual who would be seen as a coterie member. Remember, members of the coterie are those individuals which are favourable towards a narcissist, either because they're perhaps being paid, but more usually as a consequence of a notion of loyalty that comes from perhaps being family, perhaps being friends, possibly being colleagues, sometimes sharing an ideology. Many of the coterie members for this one's wife have a parasocial relationship with her. Rather entertainingly, they regularly berate her critics saying, "You don't know her," when in fact they don't know her either, and quite simply she doesn't care for them in the slightest, because as a narcissist she has no emotional empathy or connection to them. They're simply there to be utilised. Nevertheless, these supporters, despite not knowing her, worship her, support her, and believe that she is the victim. They have swallowed the narrative that she has pushed out as part of her narcissism, which is done by her narcissism to assert control over certain groups of people by way of pity play and smearing of others, so that these coterie members believe that she's the one that's in the right and everybody else is in the wrong, that she's the one that's been hard done to and therefore ought to be supported and receive their sympathy. This means that they, in effect, create an agenda whereby they believe that anybody that criticises, whether it's legitimate or not, whether they criticise this one's wife, makes them fair game for attack. They believe that she should always be supported, irrespective of what she actually does. They never stand to one side and critically examine her behaviour to think, well, actually, should I be supporting this woman, given this latest type of behaviour? They exhibit a blind and slavish devotion to her cause, and this is what drives them as coterie members to go on the attack against other people. Mr. Wootton makes reference to somebody called Sarah Data, who he calls a head Sussex Squad troll. This is an anonymous account with over 20,000 followers, who Mr. Wootton has evidence showing that she'd worked closely with Boozy in the past, thus coterie member working with Lieutenant, not uncommon. This individual began to post unthinkable criminal allegations against Mr. Wootton and his boyfriend. On the 27th of May 2023, Sarah Data wrote that Mr. Wootton would soon be exposed for a number of despicable crimes that he actually had never committed. Mr. Wootton didn't want to amplify her lies again in his bulletin, but she added, "Whoever is protecting him now will go down with him." Use of threat. Mr. Wootton explains that the Sussex Squad are small in number, but use the dark arts of the internet to boost their message. Sarah Data is the biggest example of that. Mr. Wootton has connected her to at least 12 accounts on X. As one of the royal family supporters who has been investigating Sarah Data's activities explained, Her bullying against journalists, YouTubers and users of social media has escalated progressively from aggressive insults to a complex effort coordinating mass reporting and harassment, as well as fundraising to wage vicious campaigns of character assassinations with real-world consequences. Mr. Wooten has since learned that Sarah Data is an Ethiopian-born, Swedish-educated US citizen who lives in Tribeca in New York City and worked for Facebook and Google after studying computer science at the University of Chicago, explaining her interest in the tech industry and mass media. Now, it'd be noted that she doesn't appear to be somebody that actually knows this one's wife, but has swallowed the doctrines that have been issued by this one's wife, which are, I'm the victim in all of this, the royal family have been horrible to me, I'm the one that's been bullied. And thereafter, Sarah Data has not only followed that without consideration as to whether it's legitimate or accurate, but then has embarked upon a campaign of harassment of other individuals, demonstrating the nastiness of this particular coterie member of this one's wife. It can often be the case that coterie members will include other narcissists, but can also include normal and even empathic individuals. The normal and empathic individuals become swayed by the narrative that the narcissist has put out, invariably smearing the other person as the perpetrator and the instigator of the problems, portraying themselves as the victim, so that these coterie members become taken in. They swallow it hook, line and sinker. They don't pause for a moment and think, hang on a second, does this stack up? Is this accurate? Often these coterie members are swayed because they will have had some personal interaction with the narcissist, whereby the narcissist treats them well as part of facade management, whilst there is a perhaps lone family member or the intimate partner primary source who is in effect being scapegoated by the narcissist behind closed doors, suffering repeated devaluations. These coterie members, having only ever seen the nice side of the narcissist, therefore find it difficult to believe that they could ever be horrible to somebody, and therefore also accept the narcissist, who they've known for some time, when they explain that they are the one who has been abused. This situation is different. Sarah Data and many other members of the coterie don't even know this one's wife. It's not like she's treated them well, so they think, well, I've known Frank for 10 years and I've never seen him lose his temper, I've never seen him shout at anybody. So when you come to me and tell me that he's been shouting at you, I find that rather hard to believe. That's often what happens with victims of narcissists, that they run up against the facade and they are portrayed as the problem. And people believe it because the members of the coterie in their own day-to-day dealings with the narcissist have found the narcissist to be without problem, to be kind to them. Here, these coterie members don't deal with this one's wife on a regular basis. They don't know her. Nevertheless, such is the power of the facade that she has generated and the susceptibility of these individuals to accept it, because of course the facade has not worked on many, many people who have seen through it. The fact is that she is able to assert this control over these individuals without actually having any day-to-day involvement with them. Now, with some members of the coterie, there's long been the suspicion that they are paid bots, paid individuals that are there to issue the propaganda on behalf of this one's wife. And of course, payment is a major inducement to ensuring a coterie member, particularly one that doesn't actually know the narcissist, behaves themselves. But with these others, it's often as a consequence of a parasocial relationship that they have with this one's wife, that they live vicariously through her, that they want to be the queen that she has portrayed herself as, that they somehow see their own hopes encapsulated in her, and as a consequence, she serves the use of their agenda. Dr. Shouty Shola is an example of that, whereby there are individuals who ordinarily wouldn't bother with this one's wife, but she serves a purpose for their agenda. Mr. Wooten continues by explaining that before joining the campaign against the royal family on behalf of Harry and this one's wife in mid-2020, Sarah Data was focused on left-wing political issues like Black Lives Matter. In a series of conversations on X with his partner, who threatened her with legal action for the false claims against him, Sarah Data admitted to posting information fed to her by both a deranged ex of Mr. Wooten and Byline Times, who had been working with Prince Harry to try and destroy Mr. Wooten. Sarah Data conceded she did nothing to fact-check the highly defamatory claims, and this is entirely common behaviour of a member of the coterie, a failure to advance any critical thinking, any critical analysis of the evidence, but just to be spoon-fed it and regurgitate it. Sarah Data conceded she had done nothing to fact-check the highly defamatory claims and apologised to Mr. Wooten's partner, claiming he was simply collateral damage in the squad's bid to cancel Mr. Wooten. In July 2023, when Byline Times began publishing a completely untrue series of hit pieces against Mr. Wooten, the Sussex Squad began to crowdfund to continue the campaign of hate. Almost immediately, Sarah Data pledged that the Sussex Squad would raise a six-figure sum for the journalist behind the story, writing, £100,000. I can guarantee you will have it by the end of the week. We are rallying your fundraiser and we've raised more than that in the past. On July 24, she revealed that the Sussex Squad had been responsible for raising £11,000 of the £13,000 for Byline Times' campaign in just 24 hours. She later hosted a series of spaces on X to coordinate the hate campaign among 636 hardcore Sussex Squad trolls. During one of these, on August 9th, 2023, of which Mr. Wooten has obtained the audio and it's available on his site to be played, Sarah Data said of Mr. Wooten, I know there's a lot going on with Harry, the Japan trip and stuff. I want to be honest with you guys, this is a priority for me. He's about to fall off the ledge. We can't come this far and sleep on this thing. We have to see it through. This is our chance. We'll never get momentum back again. Timing is everything, right? Also, remember Invictus is coming and we're going to go 100% on that. So this is our chance. We have to get this done before Invictus. He has to lose everything before then. That's what I've been stressing about. I don't know if you guys think about things the way I do, but it's my hobby. On July 14th, 2023, amidst rumours of a series of equally deranged theories, Sarah Data wrote of Mr. Wooten and Prince William, he's a friend of anyone who will brief against their own family, friends and colleagues in exchange for positive headlines. It's what William did to Harry and why Harry had no option but to go nuclear. Dan is running a protection extortion racket. Of course, nothing could be further from the truth. Mr. Wooten states he was simply a journalist breaking stories from a host of sources, including those close to Harry. On July 18th, 2023, seemingly admitting that the campaign against Mr. Wooten was in direct retaliation to his coverage of Harry and this one's wife, Sarah Data wrote, all he had to do is leave our faves alone. After Mr. Wooten was suspended by GP News on September 27, 2023, due to Lawrence Fox saying he did not want to shag a female journalist during an appearance on his top-rated primetime show, Sarah Data celebrated the victory on behalf of the Sussex Squad, writing, Dan Wooten suspended, mission complete. GB News found the perfect reason to fire him, no deeper investigation needed, just an easy bye. But in January, as internet sleuths began to work out her identity, Sarah Data started deleting hundreds of messages. On March the 14th, armed with the knowledge that Mr. Wooten was now aware of her true identity, Sarah Data quit her campaign of trolling on X altogether. Her account no longer existed. 2 days before, she had written to her followers, Sussex Squad, we've got everything we want. Royal family in shambles. I hear. But she then told her supporters in a private message group that has been leaked to Mr. Wooten, I discussed it with the ladies in the voice chat and I felt supporting in just moved on. The Sarah Data persona is a toxic one and I felt it has done what it needs to do. Why let it stay around and become a symbol of derangers' ire? I want the squad to evolve and make room for new squaddy with new talents and methods. Because I'm not there to do the opposition research necessary with an account like that, I have to shut it down. I want to kill the persona and move on with my life. Like I'm tired. It's been 4 years of scheming and plotting. I'm simply tired. Sarah Data then revealed her first name and added that she wasn't quitting the campaign altogether, just as its leader. She added, I'm not going anywhere. Getting smaller Twitter account and just want to be another squaddy without all the other stuff. Don't want to be a persona that needs active managing. Notice, of course, that quite common with the behaviour of an internet troll and a member of a coterie, that they're quite content to be the organiser of hate against other individuals and to smear those individuals from a position of anonymity. But once that individual's own identity was at risk of being exposed and known, she behaved in a cowardly fashion and started to retreat and run away. Mr. Wooten then continues by explaining that Sarah Data then attempted to delete all evidence of her campaign from internet archives. Mr. Wooten then asks, what exists is Sarah Data's connections to Harry and this one's wife's friend, and in my terminology, Lieutenant, Christopher Boozy, who was branded Prince William a balding muppet. Analysis of her posts suggests a formal collaboration began around September 2021. They spoke on a podcast together in May 2022, and on December the 5th, 2022, when Boozy appeared in Harry and this one's wife's Netflix series, she posted, "Our very own Master Boozy, sharing his expertise with what might be close to 1 billion viewers. At C Boozy is a true ally, friend and brother to women everywhere." She also helped crowdfund for Boozy's Bot Sentinel business, which is ironically designed to identify trolls on social media. Boozy has publicly acknowledged knowing Sarah Data, responding to claims that it was actually him running her accounts. He wrote on June 17, 2022, "Now anti-Harry and this one's wife accounts claim I am, wait for it, at Sarah Data. Sarah and I have recorded several Twitter spaces together, and we've literally talked simultaneously. Many of these people are 50 plus years old. How much lead paint was used in the 60s, early 70s? On September the 12th, 2022, their collaboration was ongoing as he publicly tweeted her, "Check your DM." Sarah Data has collaborated with other leading figures of the Sussex Squad. One of them is Ian Sexton, another coterie member, a self-proclaimed global citizen from Tampa with over 310,000 followers, who has promoted the unofficial PR message of Harry and this one's wife, while spreading outrageous abuse about the royal family, with particular acrimony save for the current Queen. On December the 19th, 2022, he tweeted, "Camilla, the Queen Consort, is in league with her fellow abusers, Piers Morgan and Jeremy Clarkson, against all women, and particularly this one's wife, the Duchess of Sussex. She has no shame." Then, on March the 29th, 2023, he attempted to link the King with Nazi Germany by posting, "King Charles III skips town and takes his adulterous side piece Queen Consort Camilla to see his home country of Germany, while Prince Harry wipes the floor with their buddy Lord Rothermere, whose grandfather was also an admirer of Hitler. Hashtag Go Harry, hashtag Good King Harry." But it was only during the recent hysteria regarding Catherine, the Princess of Wales, that the true malignant influence of the Sussex Squad gained international prominence. Mr. Wooten's analysis shows it was anti-royal family accounts connected to the Sussex Squad who created the false narrative that Kate had disappeared from the public view for reasons other than her legitimate health concerns. And pausing there, you will know from parts passim of my videos the analysis of why they have behaved in that way in relation to Kate Gate. The post that started it all on January the 20th was by an account called @LLoveLucy, which posted fingers in faces, shoving, incandescent rage, screaming matches, a sudden hospitalisation, a disappearance for months. Bulliam did something, and like Harry, Kate was told to shut up or else. She doesn't even have custody of her kids, Charles does. Hashtag what Will did, hashtag where is Kate. Bulliam is the Sussex Squad code for William, suggesting incorrectly that he is a bully with violent urges. The hashtag "Is Kate Alive" was soon added and used by the Sussex Squad for weeks. Mr. Wooten's sources say key Sussex Squad accounts run bot farms designed to spread stories using tens of thousands of fake accounts able to trick the X algorithm and make topics trend. This, of course, is another activity of the coterie which is beneficial to this one's wife. During Catherine's absence from the public eye, as she underwent abdominal surgery and was later diagnosed with cancer, this meant fringe Sussex Squad theories, literally made up to cause maximum bad publicity for Prince William, ended up bleeding into the mainstream media. While China, Russia and Iran may have amplified the rumours, Mr. Wooten believes the stories didn't emanate from those rogue states, but rather from the Sussex Squad. An investigator of the rumours told Mr. Wooten, "We believe the bots are from this one's wife's digital PR, possibly facilitated supporters involved in digital marketing." Thus, such is this one's wife's need for control, she has instructed a digital PR company to ensure that pro-this one's wife information and anti-nemesis and the one that got away, etc., information is disseminated by these bots. Once again, highlighting the hypocrisy of this one's wife as someone who regularly cries about being bullied online when, as is now being revealed, she is in effect causing the same to happen through members of her coterie and her lieutenants. Of course, this is not a surprise to many of you to hear this, but it is important to understand that this is the modus operandi of particularly a cowardly narcissist such as this one's wife, and one that has access, as a consequence of the residual benefit of money, to be able to assert control en masse through PR reach in this way. Mr. Wooten suggests that the idea of Russian and Chinese bots may be planted as a distraction to shift the blame for the barrage of bots employed to target Princess Catherine. Although it's possible that state actors may attempt to capitalise on internal conflict and division fuelled by Harry and this one's wife's hate campaign against the British monarchy, the time and circumstances in which it was seen to be a dramatic increase of the use of bots against Catherine suggests that it comes from those connected to the Sussex Squad. Shockingly, Boozy's hate campaign against Catherine has continued even after the cancer announcement. This, of course, isn't a surprise in relation to this individual, who not only will do so as a lieutenant of this one's wife, but as a consequence of his own need for control and his own jaundiced views. He has continued to peddle the conspiracy theory that the son's pictures of William and Catherine at a Windsor Farm shop were faked, claiming he used facial comparison recognition tools to determine the woman in the video is not the princess, adding on X, "To pretend the woman in the video is Kate is QAnon level stuff." Well, this once again exhibits the paranoid mind of Christopher Boozy. As I have explained to you on previous occasions, with regard to particular narcissist, paranoia is not very far away as a driving engine for the pursuit of the prime aims. Mr. Wooten also explains he's also cast doubt, that's Boozy that is, on the authenticity of Catherine's official video announcement of her diagnosis. Employing this one's wife style tactics, Boozy has claimed the increased media scrutiny surrounding his role in the Sussex Squad trolling is rooted in racism. But in regards to his connections to the Sussex Squad, he added vaguely, "I've never threatened, made death threats or slurred anyone from the royal family, nor have I ever stated, implied or suggested I am a member of any group." But just last week he wrote on X, "I will join the Sussex Squad tonight at 7:15 p.m. EDT for an in-depth discussion on everything that happened in the past few days. Bring your popcorn." After being rumbled on X, Mr. Wooten can reveal the main plotting for the Sussex Squad has moved to Discord, a more private social network designed to allow groups and organisations to communicate via voice, video, text messaging and file swapping. Unbelievably, on this platform, the conversation has turned even nastier. Pagan Trelawney, one of the leaders of the Sussex Squad, who is believed to be a British branding advertising expert with insider knowledge, has been spreading a nasty rumour that the Queen has encouraged her husband's cancer diagnosis. She wrote to Sussex Squad followers on Discord, "He's been wearing that lead paint since the coronation. Camilla probably laced it with arsenic so she can end this farce and retire in a bottle of gin with all the duchy millions." Proof that the Sussex Squad, empowered by driving the Princess of Wales to reveal her cancer diagnosis earlier than she had planned, are only going to get worse. Given the stress currently facing the royal family, with both Catherine and the King undergoing serious treatment for cancer, Harry and this one's wife must put an end to this madness. But Mr. Wooten guarantees you won't, and I endorse that guarantee. They will not do so. They will not do so because this one's wife has no emotional empathy, and her poodle, sat in her lap, simply yaps and follows along with what she requires, his own narcissistic traits coming to the fore as a consequence of her grooming in that regard. She will not call an end to this madness because it will serve her purposes not to do so. That she revels in seeing the repeated attacks upon the other members of the royal family because it gives her validation that she is right, and therefore attends to her need for control in that regard. Mr. Wooten continues in his bulletin by making a reference to a case study of someone called EMZ or EMZ. He states the Sussex Squad are famous for directly targeting high-profile social media users who do not support Harry and this one's wife, regularly dispatching threats and other forms of harassment, including attempts to hack into personal accounts. EMZ is a certified psychotherapist and trained life coach, but she was driven off X and felt under threat after being targeted by the Sussex Squad in 2020. This again demonstrates the unpleasant nature of this particular narcissist's coterie, and once again the way in which she preaches about being kind and being empathic, and yet the very people that support her behave in a way that's completely contrary to that, and she does nothing to stop it. EMZ explained, "The bullying I went through was pretty horrendous," she told me. "I have a lot of evidence regarding the doxing and bullying in the online community, how certain accounts act innocent but were instrumental in reaching out to Boozy, who then targeted me. They nearly ruined my career and I lost nearly every subscriber on my YouTube channel as it became a coordinated attack. The tweet from Christopher Boozy calling me dangerous opened up huge trolling towards me." EMZ had direct messaged Boozy asking for his support to stop the trolling, but he simply connected her to Ellie Hall, the favourite journalist of the Sussex Squad, who was working for BuzzFeed at the time, showing proof of collaboration with the liberal pro-This One's Wife factions of the United States mainstream news. EMZ has spent the past 3 years building herself back, and in 3 years has accrued a YouTube following of over 60,000, with a reputation for being honest and having integrity in her reporting of the royal family. But like me, she's forever scarred by her interaction with the Sussex Squad, writes Mr. Wooten in his final observation. Thus, the connections there between those supporters and lieutenants of this one's wife who continue to orchestrate campaigns of malice and nastiness to people who are exercising their freedom of speech and are simply being critical. But it shows the nature of how the dynamic exists between the narcissist and those coterie members and lieutenant members, and how they are then motivated to assist the narcissist in the pursuit of the prime aims. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.